turning our attention now to another matter. Yes, we have been listening to some shocking statistics there from the Lagos studios, something that we should be worried about, election violence and how lives are being lost. But, you know, we also interrogate how now that the elections have been conducted and politicking has started to the leadership of the National Assembly, especially for the 9th Assembly, how are they going to fare, both parties? We understand that the person we invited for the APC might be late in coming or might not make it at all. But we do have here in the studio Mr. Sani Umar, who is the spokesperson for the PDP Presidential Campaign Council. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Mope. Good morning.
Good morning. Now we're beginning to see jostlings for the positions, as we see almost every 4 years when we go to the general elections. And I think that an even more keen interest has been taken in this matter, maybe before 2011, but even more after 2011, when we saw that there was a rebellion of some sort against the party's choice for who will occupy these positions. Can you share with us your party's thinking, or maybe perhaps it will be your thinking, we don't know, on this particular matter for the leadership of the National Assembly?
The leadership of the National Assembly is open to every member. I do not think that they have any written law where it says that you must be a member of a certain political party before you can occupy certain position. Of course, there are certain key positions that are only meant for political parties. For instance, the majority leader is supposed to come from the party with the majority. And of course, the minority leader will come from the party with the minority. These are clear positions that are meant for political party. Other principal offices like the Speaker or the Senate President, Deputy Senate President, they are results of horse trading within the House. Now, a lot of jostlings are going on, and a political party with the majority may think it can get whatever it wants, but it is not that way, because numbers also count.
Is it convenient for you to maintain this stance because you are now in the PDP? Or you're saying this based on how you truly feel about how the composition of the National Assembly should be?
No, generally, if you look, even during the PDP, I wouldn't say it began like that, but it ended up that way. For instance, the choice of the PDP for the speakership of the House of Representatives was to come from the Southwest. Mulikat Akande was chosen to be the speaker. But Honorable Wazir Aminu Tambwal, who is from the Northwest, came in and occupied the position. And even later decamped to another party and still was holding that position. So it is something that is very normal within the National Assembly for all these things to happen. So it is not whether I'm in PDP or in APC.
It is not normal. It would seem that, you know, we're creating a norm of some sort, because those people who have been following our democracy, not just our democracy, but even democracy everywhere, say it is not the norm. That not everything that is written, everything that guides a democracy is written in a constitution or written in a book, in a book of law. You don't agree? No. They believe the traditions, norms, principles, and certain things guide how people think through these kinds of positions. And then in the places where we have copied our democracy from, we have seen that when a party wins majority seats, that party has the right to decide the leadership of the National Assembly.
Yes.
Isn't that just common sense?
Well, you see, the majority here is subjective. Well, if you win a majority, the question is, what is required of a person who is contesting for an office? Is he supposed to win a simple majority, or is he supposed to win 2/3 majority? Now, that is the definition. If he is going to win 2/3, if a simple majority, then he will have to, because in a political party that has majority, for instance, If the APC has 60 senators or 62 senators and 2 people are vying for the position, they need the PDP with 40-something senators. So those 40-something senators are there for a bargain. So there has to be some horse trading.
Yeah, when you say, I mean, of course, definitely, the person is going to be presiding, whoever it is that emerges speaker or Senate president, for instance, is going to be presiding over his colleagues. I mean, he is first amongst equals. And of course, it's going to be president for everybody and speaker for everybody, whether they be in PDP or APC. However, when you say that, you know, the position is open to everybody, it's only this position of a majority and minority that is specific to parties.
Yes.
Are we being completely honest?
Yes, of course. Is there any law or any statute that has clearly said nobody can vie for this position if you are a senator unless you belong to the majority party?
But you just agreed with me now that there are norms and principles guiding, you know, even these matters in our democracy.
Those norms and principles are subjected to, they are subordinated to certain laws. You cannot just because there are principles and norms and then you now remove it completely, because the law in the Constitution says that the National Assembly can regulate itself, which means they can make laws that will guide them. Now, if they have such powers to make laws that will guide them, then certain conventions and principles that or norms that they want to bring in will come within those laws that will regulate them. And they have not made any law saying that only the majority party must take certain positions. So those things cannot be binding. They are not issues that are legally or even politically binding.
But you don't think that it will be some sort of anomaly? I don't know what is in contention here. But you don't think that it will be some sort of anomaly if the opposition, for instance, or the minority produces the speaker, for instance, or the Senate president? You don't think that there's something anomalous?
Well, if whether from beginning or from the ending, minorities have produced speakers. Here we have seen Dogara, who is all a minority in the House of Representatives, being the speaker.
How is he a minority?
Because he started from a majority and then he now became to the minority party. The PDP was a minority in the House of Representatives.
You know, I think that needs to be defined as well, in the sense that when you began to see a flood of defections again, there were now questions as to, you know, what party was in the majority. I do know that in the Senate it was very controversial, and I think that, you know, both parties maintained that they were now in the majority, trying to justify why it was that the Senate president, for instance, should remain as Senate president when he defected to the PDP.
Well, I don't think arithmetic is a very difficult subject.
Well, they have made it difficult.
For you to count.
It's the same way, you know, elections have become extremely difficult. I mean, the elections are supposed to be simple arithmetic.
But I cannot.
They're pretty tough in Nigeria.
I can't see how 109 senators cannot be counted. You know, 109. Even a primary school child can count 109 and say, okay, so number belongs to this, and so number belongs to this. So there is no any controversy.
Okay, can you tell us then, as at the 8th Assembly is still going on?
Yes, the 8th Assembly, as it is.
Who is the majority party in
the APC
in the Senate
is the majority in terms of numbers. But Bukola Saraki is still the Senate president. Removing him
requires a third majority.
Yeah, it requires a third majority. So it is difficult.
Okay. So what do you make of this debate then? Because we see once again the party deciding, in this instance the APC, they had decided in 2015, and somehow there was some, you know, hanky-panky going on. At the end of the day, the party's choice the party did not get their choice. They were able to produce speaker and deputy speaker and principal officers and even Senate president, maybe other principal officers as well. Of course, not the deputy Senate president, which came from within their fold, but were not their choice. Now we're beginning to see again this particular debate coming to the fore. What do you make of it?
You see, even as at then, it was just internal democracy within the party, within the APC, that was unfolding. the party leadership or the party hierarchy or certain very powerful individuals wanted certain people in certain positions. But there were rebellion. Some other people wanted those positions. So a mock arrangement was made to choose. And the mock arrangement favored those people they wanted to be in certain positions. However, they did not understand the depth of the others, how far they have gone in mobilizing other people and including other parties, including the PDP. So they were able to really come together and say, okay, support me, and I will also support you for this position. And this is what is still playing now. Now, those contesting for positions are now beginning to come out from the APC. So we will have a lot of contestants. Now, if we have, for instance, an anointed person like Ahmed Lawan has been anointed by the party that this is our own, Ali Ndume is coming out to say no, that I also was anointed secretly because I met the president and I met the party leader and they all endorsed me. And then Oji Uzo Kalu is also coming out to say, okay, I'm also going for this position. Unless you zone deputy senate president to the southeast where I will get it, otherwise I will also go for it. Danju Mogoji is also coming out for this position. So the North Central is also talking about sponsoring Abdullah Adamu for this position. So if these things, if APC's votes are divided along these lines, of course they need block vote. And the block vote is PDP. They have 40-something senators. So if they have 40-something senators, it is just natural that if you want to win and you want to become, then you have to align with the majority so that you get their block votes and win. And of course, going in requires simple majority, but it is removing that requires two-thirds majority. So the horse trading continues, and we are hoping that the PDP will still return as deputy senate president.
It is interesting that, you know, the PDP is, will I say, sitting and waiting to be negotiated with.
Yes.
They are not saying, well, it looks like they have a divided house there. We're going to be presenting our own candidate as well within the PDP. Why do you think that is not happening?
Well, the point here is the PDP has agreed in principle that the Senate presidency can go to the majority party. In principle, not in practice. Because if there is a loophole or a lacuna, they can come in. But in principle, they have agreed, okay, the ruling party, take it.
Is it in principle, or that's just how it ought to be?
That is not how it ought to be, because if you have the support of members of the House and they decide to defy their party and support somebody, then it becomes completely something different. Like I told you, even in the PDP, Aminu Tambuwal was not the favored by the PDP for speakership. But members defied the order from the party and voted for him.
How did that affect your party?
Well, it really affected us because as at then, the general principles of rotation within our party was hampered. First, it also generated a lot of problems for us within the Southwest because the position of the vice president, which was also from the Northwest, has now a speaker from the Northwest. So the Northwest were holding two key positions, you know, in Nigeria, and the Southwest were having none. There was no any party position that the Southwest was leading with, and neither was there any serious. The only position that they ended up giving Molikat was the House leader, which is, of course, from the majority party. It is not because of our usual rotational system. So it was a very big blow, and it really affected us in the Southwest because the Southwest felt that they were disenfranchised.
So with benefit of hindsight and knowing what you know,
yeah.
You know, as a party man and as somebody, do you think that the party should have a choice? Is it then right for a party to say, look, gentlemen, yes, you have the right to regulate your own activities, or gentlemen and ladies, as the case might be, you know, you have the right to, you know, regulate your own activities, but for the sake of unity, for the sake of achieving oneness within the party. Do you think a party should have a right,
of course,
to pick choices?
Yes, the party has those rights, but the point is, when it goes to the National Assembly, it becomes also a subjective matter. Why I say this is because they tell you, no, the electioneering has gone, this is governance, and we are now trying to arrange how to govern Nigeria. So if we are trying to arrange how to govern Nigeria, we don't have to look at political parties again, and we don't have to look at our differences. We want to deliver, and we want to select those people who can help us deliver. There are certain key positions, like I earlier said, that whether the National Assembly likes it or not, it is the choice of the party. The choice of a majority leader and the minority leader is always done by the party. But apart from these ones, all other positions are positions that are as a result of horse trading. So it becomes very difficult for you to say, okay, National Assembly, we have sent a list, you must follow it. Once they go in and they begin to discuss among themselves, they say, I better forget this party.
Quickly, I'd like you to wade into Zamfara. Yeah. Now your party is looking to, also get, benefit from the from the Court of Appeal ruling in Sokoto nullifying the primaries of the APC. Yeah. INEC has suspended the issuance of certificates of return. Yeah. What steps is your party taking to see that happen?
Well, we are just like the vulture, waiting in the wings to benefit from these things. These are not issues that we generated. Number one, it is not we that said Zamfara, APC should not field candidates. It is INEC that said Zamfara, APC should not field candidates, because they have run foul of their guidelines. They were yet to submit the names of candidates even after the expiration of the time allotted for submission of candidates. So INEC said they don't have candidates in Zamfara. Zamfara APC went to court to challenge INEC. Now the court gave some, conflicting rulings, which INEC had to sit down to study again.
Yeah, because there was one from Abuja and then there's one from Zamfara as well.
Yeah, there was one from Zamfara again. So INEC had to sit down to look at it. But the issues are that had emanated from there is, did INEC actually look at it from the point of view of courts of coordinate jurisdiction? This is the same court that has the same power with this court, and then you now decided to choose the one that you think is closer to your thinking or whatever. We don't know whether it was influenced or whether it was closer to their thinking or whatever. But they are decisions of courts from coordinate.
The question is now, how are you hoping to benefit from this?
Well, it is very clear. The Court of Appeal has given a ruling and says that Zamfara, APC has no candidate from National Assembly election to the State Assembly election. No candidates. Now, if there are no candidates, INEC, it is very clear. INEC knows that the next political party, what it ordinarily means is that we were not supposed to even contest with APC. We were supposed to contest along other parties, not with APC. So APC is completely shut out. So whatever votes that APC has gotten is null and void. It is of no effect. It is not supposed to be counted. It has no bearing. Now the issues are, one, for determination, whether INEC should just hand it over to the second person, or INEC should conduct a rerun election against the first and second persons that are eligible to contest.
But those matters will only be decided after the APC, after the Supreme Court has given its own judgment, because we understand that the APC in Zamfara State, or is it the APC at the national level, is going to the Supreme Court to contest the judgment from the Court of Appeal in Sokoto. But we have to thank you for coming on Sunrise City this morning. Mr. Sani Umar is the spokesperson of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council and has been speaking with us in our Abuja studios.